One of the things that we're doing is teaching our people to be better citizens. Being part and parcel of this said government, we are to live the life accordingly. We are enforcing the law. We are not violating law. You must understand that. And so we are teaching you the jurisprudence that governs those civic affairs. Some of it you're familiar with, some of it you're not. The damage has been that you have been assuming that people who have been governing are legitimate. And so you've looked at yourself from a subordinate position. No, we are the government. They are servants. They've been racketeering for quite some time, and we have every intention to bring it to a screeching halt. May I have a Constitution book, please? Now, those of you who have your Constitutions books, turn to Article 4, Section 4. Can you read that out? Article 4, Section 4 of the Constitution for the Republic, United States, North America, Central.
Section 4. The United States shall guarantee to every state in this union a republican form of government and shall protect each of them against invasion.
Do you see anything that starts with a D that says democracy? Now that's the Constitution for the governance of these United States. So when a politician says to you, democracy, and you don't object, from a political position, you just waived your rights. You didn't know it was that subtle, did you? You're looking at other substance, aren't you? You're looking at attitudes, what they may do, and it has nothing to do what they do. They set up a false platform, you agree to it, then you start negotiating with them on that false platform, and they got you from day one because they got a marked deck. The real deal is the United States Republic has been overthrown without firing a gun. And it was done by the very same people that you see running government. That's right. It's a fiction. What it represents is the Albion or European nations who set subversives in this order to overthrow the United States Republic without firing a gun. You have a republican form of government. This is not a democracy. And that's the code word. When you hear them say democracy, that's the code word. Remember, the U.S. Democracy Corporation is really organized criminals. They're well organized. All right? And you already know that they're dealing with admiralty and maritime law, which is why all their courts will have the yellow fringe around the trading banner. And you must understand, and also that red, white, and blue is not the national flag, so don't confuse it with the national flag. Are you aware of that? Everyone aware of that? I know a lot of people have been told that that's the national flag. It's not. It's a flag of amity. Write this down. A-M-I-T-Y. Amity and commerce. And it is a legitimate flag of amity and commerce. It is illegitimate if represented as a national flag. The matching flag with that which would confer some sovereignty to the nation would be the continental flag. And that's a red flag with a white canton with a green cedar tree in it. They also call it the Bunker Hill flag. So when you are in a courtroom or you're dealing with them on any level and they start looking at the amity and commerce flag and talking about that's the national flag, they're lying. But that does not mean that that flag is illegitimate. It's not illegitimate. It's not what you thought it was. And you must be clear on what it is. That's not a national flag. Remember that when you say, state of New Jersey and state of Pennsylvania, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and stuff like that, that you're actually talking about corporations. Never think of them as the land. Are we clear? I know most of you know this, but those who don't, get very clear in your brain and in your mind. Don't think land. think corporation. No matter how long a thing or a law, purportedly law, is maintained or sustained, that at all times, if it's in contradiction with the Constitution, it has neither the power or the quality of law. However, most people don't object, do they? So if you tell them something that's absolutely in contradiction to the Constitution, instead of objecting, they go along with, the judge said that, peanut butter sandwiches on Thursday are illegal if the sheriff says so. Well, where did he derive that authority? Do you see what I'm trying to say to you?
Yes.
So what I'm saying to you is back to the same principle that Tom Jefferson, Ben Franklin, George Washington told the people before. You now have a republic if you're willing to keep it. So the point is, if you're not going to stand for the Constitution in the face of contradiction, and you accept it, you're accepting a jurisdictional contract, aren't you? You have a right to agree to that. You also have a right to object. So the obligation of all citizens is to do what? To uphold the Constitution of the Republic, United States, Central North America. If there's any laws, now deal with Article 6 of the Constitution. Read that out.
This Constitution and the laws of the United States which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made, or which shall be made, under the authority of the United States, shall be the supreme law of the land, and the judges in every state shall be bound thereby. Anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding. The senators and representatives before mentioned, and the members of the several state legislatures, and all executive and judicial officers, both of the United States and of the several states, shall be bound by oath or affirmation to support this Constitution, but no religious test shall ever be required as a qualification to any office or public trust under the United States.
So what did that tell you? Just what I'm telling you. Now, are they bound to that Constitution, or they can make up their own game? So if you don't hold them to that, and you waive your rights, and they take them because you want to throw them down, because you listen to what somebody said that contradicts that. So when some judge starts telling you, well, that don't count anymore, you also have his oath, don't you? So you go to the courts, federal constitution, state constitution, and a standard copy of the oath of officials, and particularly judges and magistrates. Entered into the record. You ask them, did you take an oath to uphold the Constitution of this great republic? And if you start talking about, well, the Constitution don't apply here, what is he already telling you? No, what is he already telling you? He's telling you he's a foreign infiltrator. He's a foreign agent. He's not a legitimate judge of the United States. And so what you tell him said, oh, excuse me. I knew I was in the wrong place. Can I go home? All right, so what you want to do, you want to write down written nature of discovery. And first, a writ in the nature of discovery. All right? And you will list some of these things that you're going to ask those foreigners. You want to ask one, send you the document, certified document of the delegation of authority order issued to them from the Congress of the United States Republic, North America. And you're looking forward to that. You're going to ask next one, relative to whoever's signature is on that instrument that they sent to you, proof of that person's nationality, proof of their political allegiance, and of course a DOAO, delegation of authority order and ask them, is their organization foreign or domestic? And ask them to send a copy of the branch of government that issued authority to them and the reference number for the certificate confirmation.
Could you just go right back to, are you foreign or domestic?
Yes. Is your corporation foreign or domestic? Then ask where their registration number can be verified, i.e. their articles of incorporation. You also ask at what juncture did the Constitution establish them? This is back to DOAO. You're being more specific. And this is actually redundant, but these are different questions of really the same thing. Where did the Constitution establish their branch of government? As you didn't notice it, but you need clarification. Then you're going to make a statement. That if this writ in the nature of discovery is not satisfied in 10 days, consider the instrument that was sent to you not lawful and an attempt at extortion and misrepresentation. If it is not this, please respond in kind. That is still concluded in that 10-day span. Then ask for the persons who issued this instrument to come forth in written document and prove their claim to authority. And if there is a bill, yes, again, if there's a bill, anyone in your organization or your corporation, always refer to them as corporation, anyone in your organization or corporation that has any claim to me or with whom I've made a contract of debt or who loaned me anything at any time, please produce that instrument so that I can verify it or dismiss it based on its validity or lack thereof. The assumption is that you agreed to that and that you are a part of that construct, and therefore you agree to waive constitutional principles. Well, guess what? In the law of contracts, will that stand at law? It cannot stand at law. Law of contract must be substance. Offer and it must be substance and an acceptance. Am I correct? Then it must be sealed or signed. Am I correct? Must not be vague. Am I correct? It must be mutual. Am I correct? Right. If any of those things are violated, the contract can be voided, can it? So can somebody print counterfeit money and then transact business with you to deceive you, and i.e. they represent themselves as government, and then charge you with counterfeiting, therefore you don't agree to the constitutional law that establishes only gold and silver coin can satisfy the debt of the United States, and then charge you with the fraud, and then take you into a foreign jurisdiction on paper and hold you to that by law and be valid if you object? I think not.